The following program is intended for mature audiences.
A democratic republic of sports. The Sportsocracy with ESPN Asheville hosts Tank Spencer and Jeremy Greene.
And welcome into the Wicked Weed studio. I'm Tank Spencer. Jeremy Greene is alongside Tuesday morning in the Sportsocracy. Thanks for joining us in the program, and be sure to hit that subscribe button so you get all of our week-by-week individual team content coming out here on the channel. We'll be doing, divisions every day of the upcoming challenges for every team in the NFL. Obviously, your one-stop shop for fantasy football prep. So today, it being waiver wire day, you got to get those claims in. We'll talk about the biggest gets on the waiver wire this week. And, of course, talk about Monday Night Football last night. We had the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles. What did you think about the game, Jeremy?
I think Jalen Hurts sucks balls.
Yeah, he does.
I think Jalen Hurts is fucking awful. And I am so sick of people trying to justify how good he is to me. And I'll go one step further. Nick Sirianni's a bad coach. You cannot ask him to throw that many times. They ran 3 times with running backs last night. 3. They ran 18 plays in the first half.
Yep.
That is brutally bad. And if Dak didn't accidentally hit somebody in the back of the head, you would have gotten shut out in the first half. They're just bad. Philadelphia's just bad. Like, that's all there is to it.
They beat up on a bad Atlanta team in week 1 and made everybody think that they were worth something.
Yeah, if you're Atlanta, you should look at what happened last night and go, holy fuck, we're bad.
They hung in there with the San Francisco 49ers.
They didn't mean to.
Yeah.
That was really more just, it was an attrition thing where San Francisco couldn't score.
Yeah.
The defense is not terrible, except when it's on the field forever. I mean, did you notice the defense got worse, incrementally worse as the night went on?
Yep.
It's because they lived on the field.
Yep. And then last night they got their just desserts. You found out what the Philadelphia Eagles are when they go up against an elite team in the NFL. And yes, I said the Dallas Cowboys are an elite team in the NFL.
I was a year early, but 100% there.
There's no disputing that this defense is markedly better than it was last year. And the fact that they have, hung in there with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, beat the Chargers, who just beat the Chiefs, and now they demolish the Philadelphia Eagles on national television. I don't think you can have any more doubts about what's ahead for the Dallas Cowboys this year.
I mean, and look, Trayvon Diggs is playing high-level football. Gray Ford said it in the comments. He exposed Jalen Hurts.
Yep.
There was the interception that he took back to the house. All right, you got the receiver on the left side. With the way the defense was aligned, you know that play is going one of 2 ways. He's either running the skinny post or he's running the quick out. It was obvious as fuck. And Jalen Hurts had no ability to know that the corner's going to sit on that and jump on it. And he did. And he went back to the house. That is not a throw an NFL quarterback can make. Period. You can't see that corner there and not either adjust the read, adjust the whatever you got to do. Don't do that. That ball will be picked up, and people will say, "Oh, Devontae Smith fell down." I don't care. It wouldn't matter if he fell down or not. The ball was 3 feet behind him in the first place. Even if he doesn't fall down, it's well behind him.
Right.
But that ball will be picked off 90% of the time in the NFL because it's going to hit the corner in stride.
Chuck G in the comments said Mike Timeout McCarthy is not a good coach either. He is a good coach.
He's fine.
His time management is questionable.
His time management sucks, and I got news for you. Kellen Moore was playing chess, not checkers last night. My wife probably got just ridiculously sick of me fictitiously blowing Kellen Moore because I did it for about 3 quarters. Because I was literally calling out. He was doing a great job of complementary football. It's what Kyle Shanahan does. You run a play to set up the next play. And on the touchdown before the end of the half, they throw the little screen pass. Screen pass gets, 7-8 yards.
Yeah.
But it didn't matter. And I told Amy, I said, I guarantee you the next play is either a draw or a zone read up the middle. Because what you did is extend out the Philly defense because now they've loaded up trying to stop Pollard, trying to stop Zeke, and now you've stretched them out, and now you hit them right where they're not. And you double up, and Connor Williams, who had a horrid night last night, But him and the interior of the line double up on Fletcher Cox, and you get Ezekiel Elliott down to 3rd and 2, and then, by God, they scored 2 plays later.
Yeah.
That is complimentary football at its best. So do I agree with you that Mike McCarthy's not a good coach? No, I would say he's a league average coach. Mm-hmm. He's not Jason Garrett bad, but he's a fine CEO. And he has a hell of a set of coordinators. Because Dan Quinn, the fact he looked at their number 1 pick and went, hey, I need a defensive end, I bet you could do that.
Yeah.
That might be the move that makes this team legitimate. I don't think they're a Super Bowl contender, but I think they're right on the outside of it. Mm-hmm. That team is really good.
It took them 6 plays last night. 6 plays for you to go, damn, the Philadelphia Eagles are outmatched.
It wasn't even competitive.
And then they made it look good. They made it look good for a second. Dak Prescott with the fumble in the end zone. Fletcher Cox jumps on it for the touchdown.
I feel bad for Fletcher Cox. I just look at him like,
He's a great player on a bad
good
team.
Lord, you are the shining diamond in the middle of a big old poop.
Yeah. I'd agree with that. 41-21 was the final score. Cowboys roll 2-1 on the season. Now they got to take on the Carolina Panthers this upcoming week. Ezekiel Elliott.
Be fun.
Oh yeah, it's going to be a great game.
Yeah, you remember last week Cowboys Zach Ertz was telling relax on Zeke. Relax.
Yep.
It's a 1A, 1B kind of scenario.
Yep.
That's exactly what you saw.
Yeah. And you go to you go up against the Philadelphia Eagles, and he averaged almost 6 yards a carry, I think. Almost broke the 100-yard mark. And he's fine. Tony Pollard also ran the ball well. So there are a lot of positives to take away from the Dallas Cowboys. Dalton Schultz got on the board for 2 touchdowns, which you will never see again this entire season.
I disagree with you.
You think so?
Dalton Schultz is a top 8 in this league tight end.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He's a top 8 in this league tight end.
All right, I'm sure we'll talk about him coming up in the waiver wire section of the program. But the fact that the Philadelphia Eagles did not run their running backs last night, I mean, I get you're behind. I get that you're outmatched. But given 2 carries to Miles Sanders, when he gained 27 yards, you would think if your running back is, averaging 13.5 yards per carry, you might give him a few more touches in the game.
It was a pitiful display.
Yeah, I don't understand that at all.
It's what bad coaches do.
Yeah.
Bad coaches get beholden to game script. They fell behind, and now you got Jalen Hurts throwing 39 times with 9 carries. Mm-hmm. No, that's non-sustainable. It's not. And then he made one of the most unbelievable. Did you hear him in the postgame?
No.
He said, I can't, and I'm not quoting this verbatim, but he basically said, when you take a shit, you flush it, you don't sit there and stare at it. And I went,
you hear that, Corey?
Wait, what the hell did you just say out loud? I was like, if I was a Philadelphia Eagle fan, I would hear that and immediately ram my head into the wall as hard as I could.
Yeah.
That's my quarterback. That's my quarterback. Woo.
So he was just saying this is a flush it game.
Yeah. I got news for you. You got a bunch of those coming up.
Yeah, you do.
Look at their schedule.
Yeah, it's not going to get any better for them.
Outside of the Lions, you tell me who they beat before Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm. They got the Chiefs next.
Loss.
Then they're at the Panthers.
Loss.
Then they're at home against the Bucs.
Loss.
At the Raiders.
Loss.
Then there's the Lions game.
I think they lose that.
They might. It's on the road in Detroit. Mm-hmm. Then you got the Chargers.
Slaughtered.
You got at the Broncos.
Scattered.
The Saints.
Smothered.
At the Giants.
Covered.
Yeah.
That might be a cover.
Yeah. Giants and Jets back-to-back. Washington football team, Giants again, Washington football team, and then end the season with the Dallas Cowboys.
They're just bad.
Right.
And we're going to talk about this on the
ESPN
division. We're going to talk about this on the ESPN show this afternoon. You cannot make decisions like this. I can tie every bad team in the NFL, I can tie them back to one decision. One decision that you made that has sunk your franchise. That is how close it is in the NFL. People look at the Lions and the Jets and the Texans, all these shit teams. They've made 3 bad decisions. The really god-awful,
Yep.
the real good teams made one or two real good ones. Mm-hmm. Everything else is just right in the middle. Dallas Cowboys draft Dak Prescott in the 3rd round. Think about how many other bad decisions you made. Mm-hmm. That contract to Amari Cooper, you think that's going to age well? No.
No.
Is that contract to Zeke aging well? No. DeMarcus Lawrence lives hurt, and you're paying him $1 bajillion. Mm-hmm. But you draft Dak Prescott in the 3rd round, you add Micah Parsons, which gives you a hell of a pass rush, and you add Trayvon Diggs. Mm-hmm. Ta-da! Contender.
CeeDee Lamb.
CeeDee Lamb.
Drafting CeeDee Lamb.
So that's another one.
That was a huge one.
And I would say, see, for me, it's hard to ever look at a receiver and go, yeah, that was a great decision, because there's 1 billion of them. Mm-hmm. There are 1 billion receivers in the NFL.
And
I'm not disputing that was a good decision.
Okay.
What I'm saying is that I'm talking the high-level shit, the premium positions. You hit on 2, and you're a contender.
Yep.
Kansas City Chiefs, you hit on Tyreek Hill, you hit on Travis Kelce, you hit on Pat Mahomes. You have damn near missed on every other thing you've done. Mm-hmm. Chris Jones, that's it. And guess what? You've been to 2 Super Bowls in a row. But we'll talk about that on the ESPN show today. That's something I was, and he just learned that, because I've been revved up about it since last night.
All right, so big decisions that can win or tank your franchise. Coming up this afternoon on the ESPN Asheville Show. Of course, you can hear us live everywhere you go or on demand on the iHeartRadio app, and of course locally every afternoon, 3 to 5, weekday afternoons. 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400.
And pretty soon, you'll be able to see us.
Right.
You'll be able to hear all the vulgar shit I say in the commercial breaks.
It's going to be a busy week. Busy week.
Yeah. Yeah.
So last night we learned Dallas Cowboys were in a crush spot. They took advantage of it. When I talk about style points, this is what I mean. Like, you go up against a team that you're supposed to shellac them and move on. Don't mess around with them. Don't give them a chance late in the game like San Francisco did with Detroit. Just hammer them and move on. I want to see you win the games that you're supposed to win comfortably before I want to put you in that elite category. And that's what the Dallas Cowboys did last night to me. Philadelphia Eagles, you're going to be lucky to win 4 games this season because the schedule does not lighten up at all for you. We already went over that. It's going to be bad. I had poor old Josh Michael from Star 104.3 asking me the other day at the coat drive for Evelyn Charities, what do you think? You think we got a chance to win the division this year? No, buddy, I really don't. You should choose a new team. And I get it. You don't like, that's your team. You're going to stick with them. But I'm just going to keep encouraging you. Maybe you need to move on. Maybe. I get it's harder for the Philadelphia fans to do so.
You don't ever move on.
Since they just had a Super Bowl. But at some point, maybe you just need to move on. Last night on Monday Night Football, I watched the Manning cast again. I'm not watching any other thing. I'm not watching any other version of the broadcast. At this point, I don't even remember who's on the Monday Night Football broadcast, the actual one. I'm all about the Peyton and Eli thing. Eli giving the double birds to the camera on live television, that's something you don't necessarily expect from a football game. And I feel like there's going to be a stern talking to over that one. Did you see that as they were on with Chris Long?
I didn't turn it on for a second.
You didn't watch it at all?
Not for a second.
Okay. All right. I will say this, though. The one thing one of them needs to be the guy going in and out of the breaks. That's just the broadcast guy in me. You got to stop this. We stopped talking with 2 seconds to go. We'll be right back as the music's playing. I'm like, come on. Set it up. You've heard a broadcast before. Peyton's got hosting chops. You think he could handle that transition from in and out of breaks. But you never know what you're going to get on the Manning broadcast.
Yeah, Zach Hurst said it's the PC version of what we do. Yeah, I want to do a real vulgar version. I want to do it with Thursday Night Football.
Yep.
And I fully plan on doing that at some point. Just find the 3 most vulgar people I know. And me.
And you. All right, waiver wire for week 4. We saw some big performances over this past weekend, and you know what? Chances are some of the guys that turned in pretty good performances They're sitting out there available in your fantasy football league. So, obviously, all of the hype for Week 4 waiver wire, who's going to win the fight for Chuba Hubbard?
And I'm good. I'll pass.
Not swayed by the 57 yards and
against the
30 yards catching or whatever, or receiving, whatever he had.
The Texans. Mm-hmm. I mean, do you realize who they play? So I would say McCaffrey's probably back in 2 weeks. You get the Eagles and the Cowboys. Yes, that Eagles defense was bad this week against the Cowboys. I get it. I'm not running out to get Chuba Hubbard. I don't buy it. I've never bought it.
Right.
You can vouch. I've been down on Chuba Hubbard since he was at Oklahoma State because he can't pass block.
You have.
The first time he gets Sam Darnold killed, you'll see Royce Freeman. I promise you. And everybody made a big deal out of, he outsnapped Royce Freeman 37-11. He's been in the system since the draft. Mm-hmm. Royce Freeman got here a week and a half ago. Of course he outsnapped him.
Yep.
He'll outsnap him this week. It'll be a hell of a lot closer.
Yeah, I'm not on board with one of the articles I read this morning was spend 36% of your fab budget on a $100 scale. You're spending $36 to pick up Chuba Hubbard this week. To me, that's a gross overpay. Because, again, Christian McCaffrey's not like he's going to be out for a long time, or we don't expect him to be out for a long time. And people will point to last year where, remember he was supposed to come back, and then he got hurt again, and he kept having setbacks, and he missed 13 games. I understand that. But even if you're in that scenario, I just don't know that Chuba Hubbard can give you the output that you're going to be looking for, especially spending that much money on your fab.
Yeah, I'm good. I won't. I mean, if I could get him for free, and I mean, I'm trying to even figure out what level of player. I mean, if you're carrying Damian Williams for some damn reason,
yeah,
okay, you can cut him for Chuba. You can cut Devin Singletary. Okay, mm-hmm. But I'm doing it for free. Like I'm not spending a fab dollar on him.
Not one.
No.
Okay.
I don't see a way that a running back that's that bad at doing all the ancillary things that a running back has to do is going to legitimately go in as the bell cow. Now, when Christian gets hurt in the second quarter of a game that you've done the install, you're in game, yeah, he's going to get more touches. Mm-hmm. He can run between the tackles. He's a horrible receiver, and he is a horrible pass blocker. So I'm not running out to do the Chuba Hubbard thing. Am I telling you that he won't have a good game or two? No. If I'm picking up a running back this week, it's Peyton Barber, and it's not even fucking close.
Mm-hmm. Peyton Barber, 23 carries, 111 yards last week for the Las Vegas Raiders. He also had 3 catches for 31 yards. He ended up as RB5 for Week 3. It's a one and done. I don't see it being replicable.
Rob Johnson asked Chuba Hubbard or Cordero Patterson. To me, it's Cordero Patterson by a mile.
Yes.
Cordero has a role no matter what happens in this offense. Yep. That will keep happening, and I told you that after Week 1.
And he's going to keep getting 7 to 10 targets every game.
Mm-hmm. He is a piece to that offense. I look at Chuba Hubbard and go, the minute Christian McCaffrey comes back, he is irrelevant.
Yep.
And he's not the handcuff. He's not the handcuff. He's not the handcuff. Peyton Barber, on the other hand, that is the handcuff to Josh Jacobs. And you saw this week against the Dolphins, if anything happens to Josh Jacobs, he will get that level of tote because he just did it against the Dolphins to the tune of 118 yards.
Yep. So Peyton Barber's your number one running back to go after?
He's my one this week.
Okay. He is your number one. And that's the thing. How important are the handcuffs? We've already seen Tony Pollard have a big week. He's probably not available in your league.
No,
Last week it was.
He's also not a handcuff. He has independent value.
Last week it was Alexander Madison, obviously with Dalvin Cook being out, and he took care of business against the Seattle Seahawks. I'm seeing a lot of rumblings talking about Tony Jones for the New Orleans Saints. That if something happened to Alvin Kamara, Tony Jones would be the guy.
And I don't buy it. I mean, should he be owned? Sure. I mean, I'm not jumping up and down about it.
Right.
Should he be owned? Okay.
Yep.
Fun question about Peyton Barber.
Yep.
How many running backs in the NFL have averaged more touches per game than Peyton
So far this season?
Games they played. This is a little biased.
12.
6.
That's it?
It's Najee Harris, Dalvin Cook, Derrick Henry, Christian McCaffrey, Joe Mixon, Alvin Kamara. That's it. Peyton Barber's getting 19 and a half touches a game in the 3 games he's played.
Okay. Interesting.
2 games he's played.
I was going to say, I don't remember him playing the first week.
Third one's the total.
Yeah.
Sorry. Looked at it wrong.
Okay. So in 2 weeks, there are only 6 running backs that have more touches than him. Okay.
On average.
Yeah. Running back's very thin, though. I mean, if you're searching for a running back, Peyton Barber's probably the best you're going to do.
I would say so. Yeah.
Because I think, and that's why I think there's this talk about, well, who's going to be the next one? We're trying to figure out who's going to be the next guy, because there's so many people that went either 0 running back theory or ended up with, hurt running backs, drafted Cam Akers, is without Josh Jacobs. I'm thinking that along those lines.
You're looking for somebody that would be a speculative ad?
Right. Because Tony Jones is definitely that.
Jeremy McNichols is probably the one that I would look at.
Who's she?
Jeremy McNichols?
I don't know.
He's the backup running back for Derrick Henry.
Oh, okay.
I'm looking at the guys.
But Darrington Evans is coming back.
I don't care.
Okay.
I still think it's Jeremy McNichols.
Okay.
Then it would be a committee. Gross. I think he's the better of the running backs. Madison's already owned. There are 2 running backs that I'm looking at their workload going, you cannot live up to that. And it's Joe Mixon and Derrick Henry. Now, the question is, if you're going to do that, and it'd have to be a deep league, who would be the speculative ad behind Joe Mixon? I think it's Chris Evans.
I'd agree with that.
I think if something, I know he's listed as the 3, but I think if something happened to Joe Mixon, he would be the head of the snake. I think Samaje Perine would be a lot like Kenyon Drake with the Raiders. His role would stay the same, and Chris Evans would elevate to the 1.
Right. Since we're on running backs, Giovanni Bernard, after his 9 reception game against the LA Rams.
He's also hurt.
Oh, is he hurt?
Yeah, he got decimated on the touchdown.
Oh.
Yeah, his knee went the wrong direction. I think you can probably pass on him. I haven't heard a definitive on him, but I would say
I have not.
It's the MCL sprain. An MCL sprain. So he's day to day.
Yeah. But him getting that, I mean, it was the first time we've seen Gio Bernard in this offense with kind of that James White role like Tom Brady had. There was the build up to that in the offseason of that's how they want to use him. Ronald Jones is completely irrelevant. You can drop Ronald Jones, don't even look his way again. Because I'm fairly certain there was a discussion that was had of he cannot protect me. Do not put him back on the field with me. From Tom Brady to the coaching staff. I have 2 running backs back here that are far superior to Ronald Jones when it comes to picking up a pass block.
Okay, hold on. We got somebody new in the comments. Seth Lofton, we're like an AA meeting for sports.
Hi, Seth.
Hi, Seth. He said Henry has a lower workload through 3 weeks this season than he did last season. It will slow down. No, he doesn't. He's averaged 30.8 carries per game this year. He averaged 24.7 through 3 weeks of last year. He's at the highest workload a running back's had in 25 years through 3 weeks.
That's crazy.
Do I think that will slow down? Yes. Am I also scared that it can only slow down so far? Yeah. All right, let's say it regresses back to the 25 he was at last year. That would still put you, he's at 90 right now, or 92, 91, 92, somewhere in there. If you regress back to the mean, you're still at, with 14 more games to go, math is fun, especially live, 440 touches. It's too fucking many. There's not a running back on the planet Earth that can sustain that and not at least get dinged. I'm not saying that he misses weeks or anything like that.
Right.
At some point, you're going to have to lighten the work.
Right. Nagging hamstring, something like that hampers his mobility at least.
And I'm not saying that I'm not saying he should come down to 17 touches a game. He's going to be in that 22 to 25 range forever. Mm-hmm. It just makes me really nervous that you've gone, what is it, 92? Is it 92 touches through 3 weeks?
Yep.
That's just... I've been bitching about Joe Mixon's workload. Derrick Henry has 19 more touches through 3 weeks than Joe Mixon does.
Okay. What were we talking about?
Fantasy football, running backs,
football, whatever.
Sports.
It wasn't two chicks at the same time this time.
Oh, Seth Lofton's talking about carries. I'm talking about touches. I care how many times is the ball in your hand. Yeah, but he is right. He had 82 carries through 3 weeks last year. He's only got 80 this year.
Okay.
But he has 12 receptions this year, which he did not have last year.
Yes. All right, that does it for the running backs. I don't think there's another running back worth mentioning on the waiver wire this week. I am in leagues where I have seen Zach Moss floating out there. That's dumb. He needs to be owned in all formats. So if you're in one of those leagues where somebody tapped out on Zach Moss after the first week of the season, the last 2 weeks should show you, he kind of needs to be owned. It's back-to-back.
Zach Moss, running back, you want Buffalo.
Yeah, back-to-back double-digit weeks. Of course, he got the touchdown this past week. So
he was involved in the passing game too, which was interesting to me.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about the quarterbacks. Quarterbacks on the waiver wire. This should be quick. Sam Darnold.
By the way, hold on before we get off the Buffalo thing.
Yeah.
Touches for running backs in Buffalo. What was the touch breakdown this week?
Ooh, let's see. Touches for Zach Moss were 13? 16. Okay, and then Devin Singletary had 13?
12.
Yeah.
It went from 14 to nothing to 15 to 10 to 12 to 16. Zach Moss has taken over this, and it's going to keep doing that the more effective he is.
But did he not get more touches after they got so far ahead?
No. Zach Moss, who? Singletary or Moss?
Moss.
No, Moss had 2 of their first 3 touchdowns. No, Zach Moss is the guy.
Okay.
He is the guy in Buffalo. It is no doubt to me. I said that in the offseason, and then they went dookie in their pants and made him inactive in the first week, which is infuriating.
Right. Zach Moss, the guy to have in Buffalo. All right, quarterbacks. Waiver wire week 4. Sam Darnold. I made the judgment in one league earlier this year to just stream quarterbacks, dropped Sam Darnold, picked up Teddy Bridgewater because I thought the matchup was a little bit better 2 weeks ago. Went back and picked up Sam Darnold this week, and I don't think there's a way that I can let go of him again. Now that I have him, he's quarterback 12.
Adam Codson said on Facebook, I'd rather have Zach Moss than Chuba Hubbard. Where's my fucking bet?
Bingo.
Amen.
Sam Darnold is QB 12 in the first 3 weeks of the season. He's had back-to-back 300-plus yard performances. He's had 3 rushing touchdowns as well, which that just helps out your fantasy stock. 2 touchdowns this past week against the Houston Texans. As Christian McCaffrey stays out, I think for the next couple of weeks, he'll have more rushing upside.
I would agree.
And I don't know, QB 12 is pretty damn good for a guy that we thought was dog shit coming into this season.
I didn't think he was dog shit. I don't know if you got a fucking mouse in your pocket, but there's no we in that. I've been screaming that forever. I watched him with the Jets just going, you're going to go somewhere else and piss me off.
And he's doing it.
By the way, who do they play this week?
Dallas Cowboys.
The Dallas Cowboys, who are giving up 332 yards passing a week. Mm-hmm. I like Sam Darnold a lot this week.
QB 12 for the season so far puts him ahead of Justin Herbert, Dak Prescott, and, of course, Aaron Rodgers with that 1 week. And if you want to throw that at me, okay. Well, for the last 2 weeks when Aaron Rodgers has been good, Sam's number 11, Aaron's number 12. Tell me why that shouldn't be on your fantasy team. Last week, for me, it was Derek Carr. No doubt you missed the boat on that one. Don't miss the boat on Sam Darnold this week.
I agree with you. Patrick Holt asked who's QB1 so far. Right now it's Kyler Murray 1, Tom Brady 2, Patrick Mahomes 3, Jalen Hurts 4. That's just stupid to say out loud. Jalen Hurts 4. This is why fantasy football ruins how people think about this league.
Right.
Because people look at Jalen Hurts and go, he scores a lot of points for my fantasy team.
He's the fourth best quarterback in the league.
Unfortunately, he sucks this many at real-life football.
Yep. Any other quarterbacks on the waiver wire?
Somebody asked in the comments, let me see, Jason Trump asked about Matt Ryan. I'm good. I don't think I could get there. Do you know where Matt Ryan is amongst quarterbacks right now?
16?
25.
Wow.
He's one spot ahead of Ben Roethlisberger. And only 2 spots behind Aaron Rodgers. That started well.
Gross.
Gross. Taylor Heineke, if you're desperate, deep league, Taylor Heineke he scores fantasy points.
Yeah.
He's not good, but he does score. Jared Goff, he's another one if he's not owned in your league.
Yeah.
He should be. And Daniel Jones, another bad real-life quarterback that scores fantasy points.
Well, let's go back to the Matt Ryan thing for a second, because I just looked at their schedule. For the next 2 weeks, they've got Washington and New York. They got the Jets. Mm-hmm. Those could be weeks that he scores
I don't care
points.
if they had Florida State and Bishop Sycamore. I'm out.
Okay.
I'm Seacrest out. Because who did they just play? The
Giants.
New York Giants, who suck a lot. Didn't matter.
Well, the Giants have a decent secondary, though.
Do they, though? Do they really?
I mean, I think so.
They gave up 30 points. They gave up 30
and...
points to the Washington football team. Yeah, James Bradbury, who struggles with route runners, just exactly like I told you he did. He can't get Kyle Pitts the ball for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
By the way, since we're talking about where players fall in,
yes,
and I am the Tank proclaims tight end whisperer. Where does Kyle Pitts fall among tight ends right now?
17.
You're one off. He's 18. He's not even the top rookie.
Nope.
That belongs to my friend, Pat Freiermuth. I'm a big fan of the Freiermouth.
As you should be.
The Freiermouth is somebody that I would be looking to pick up this week. Mm-hmm. If you're in a deep league. Mm-hmm. There are 2 other tight ends I would rather have.
Well, we'll get to tight ends in a second. Or do you just want to jump in?
It's next on my list. So.
Okay.
Because there ain't a receiver. There's not a receiver out there that I give a fuck about.
Really?
Emmanuel Sanders. Woo! Let the good times roll. How many times is Josh Allen going to throw for 448 billion yards? Mm-hmm. Not many, because he doesn't have to. Cole Beasley was real good.
Yep.
Did you notice Stephon Diggs? No, he wasn't. Mm-hmm. Do you think that continues? Because I don't.
Right. Okay. Wow. Okay. Well, let's talk about tight ends. We'll talk about wide receivers in a second. And everyone I'll mention, Jeremy will poo-poo.
In some shape, form, or fashion.
So, Pat Freiermuth.
He would be my 3. If I was picking up a tight end, he would be my 3rd tight end.
Okay. Who's your number 1 tight end
Dalton
pickup?
Schultz with a bullet. Dalton Schultz is my 3rd best pickup of the week.
Mm-hmm. Scored 20 points last night, 2 touchdowns. It was not a bad outing, but he scored 7 points in the 2 weeks before combined. That's pretty definition boom or bust to me.
How many tight ends in the NFL have scored more points than Dalton Schultz?
Oh, it's got to be 3.
4. Guess who they are? Travis Kelce, Rob Gronkowski, T.J. Hockenson, Darren Waller. Dalton Schultz has a role in this offense.
Okay.
By the way, here's the part that you're underselling with Dalton Schultz. Mm-hmm. Who were the first 2 games against? Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are really good against tight ends.
And the Chargers.
And the Chargers, who have Derwin James. Now look at the schedule moving forward. You know what you see a lot of?
What's that?
The New York Giants. The Carolina Panthers, who are not good against tight ends. Good defense, but and I know somebody's going to say this, but we have Jeremy Chin. Yeah, who doesn't line up on tight ends? Very rarely. I think the snap rate's like 11% that Jeremy Chin winds up on a tight end.
Yeah.
He just does other shit.
Okay. Dalton Schultz will be a featured part of this offense.
I like Dalton Schultz a lot.
Okay.
And I think they saw last night that Dalton Schultz is the ultimate foil to Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb. Because CeeDee Lamb loves to go deep. Mm-hmm. Amari Cooper can work that He can work underneath. He can work intermediate. Not as elite of a deep threat as CeeDee Lamb. Dalton Schultz is that perfect guy that just gets across the middle and sits down in the zone. And, hey, I'm here. Or a little check down to the out because they don't throw the ball to running backs as much as you would want them to. I like Dalton Schultz a shitload.
Okay.
I always have. It's just now I'm starting to see the usage being where I want it.
Mm-hmm. I think, he might have a couple of good games for the next few weeks. But once Michael Gallup comes back, that's just going to eat into his targets.
I'm not worried about that. Dallas throws the ball a lot.
Yeah, they do. You're not.
And they're going to be in plenty of shootouts because the secondary is still not good. Trayvon Diggs is good.
Mm-hmm.
But they're going to be shootouts. I have no fear of that.
All right.
Be really honest. Name me a tight end outside of the four that I said that are already in front of him and the fifth one that's directly behind him, which is George Kittle. Name me a tight end you feel better about. Dallas Goedert, who has me throwing to him and can't catch.
Right.
Logan Thomas, he's more consistent week in, week out, but I don't think he has the high-end upside, and has me throwing to him. Dawson Knox, who's 8. Or a guy that I think has a consistent role moving forward. It would be my number 2 tight end, Tyler Conklin.
Tyler Conklin of the Minnesota Vikings.
Minnesota's going to be in a lot of shootouts because they can't stop anybody. Mm-hmm. I mean, they can't stop fucking anybody. So basically, to me, all right, so the thought for me with Tyler Conklin is the same thought I had last week with KJ Osborne. Kirk Cousins has been damn near flawless. Mm-hmm. That's not going to continue. But I don't think the shootouts are going to stop. I mean, even when they play the Bears, yeah, they're not going to get into a shootout with the Bears. But I can see them shooting out with the Lions.
Yeah.
I can see them shooting out with a lot of teams on that schedule. And Tyler Conklin's playing that Kyle Rudolph role. Mm-hmm. We were all drunk on Irv Smith before he got hurt. Fact or fiction?
Fact.
Okay. Well, Tyler Conklin's playing that role. Mm-hmm. And Chris Herndon is doing exactly what I told you he would do. Being bad at football. Because he does that real good.
Tyler Conklin had 8 targets this past week, 7 catches, 70 yards, and a touchdown. Was not worth mentioning in the first 2 weeks of the season. But maybe this is just him edging into or easing into that role, gelling a little bit more.
By the way, you're not worth talking about. He had 6 targets in week 1. I don't know where you got that number that he had 7 points in the first 2 weeks. It's not fucking true.
Who?
Dalton Schultz. He had 10 in the first week. He had 6 receptions.
Really?
Yeah. Now, you might be talking about in standard.
Maybe it was a standard.
Yeah, I don't talk about standard because it's irrelevant and you shouldn't play in it. Just like you shouldn't have kickers.
Yeah,
he had 6 catches in week 1.
Yeah.
With Michael Gallup, by the way. I have no fear of it.
Okay. Right.
Mainly because tight end blows. I mean, it sucks something awful. If you did what I did and went 0 tight end if you didn't get one of the high-end ones, you get to Austin Hooper and Gerald Everett and Max Williams real fast. And those, you want to talk about boomer bust? Those guys are boomer bust. I think Schultz's role is consistent.
Okay.
Jason Trump asked, do I see Adam Thielen's usage going down with Conklin? No. I think Conklin would eat into KJ Osborne more than he would do anything. Mm-hmm. I've routinely said Adam Thielen's going to have great games and you're never going to know when they're coming. I feel like I'm getting better at it because the younger Kubiak is better at playing him in the damn slot, just where he belongs. He has some slotty tendencies, okay? Put him in the fucking slot and let him go.
Yeah. Also in the tight end realm, let's talk about Dawson Knox for a second. It's back-to-back weeks now that he's had good performances, and he gets the Houston Texans next. So, if anything, if you just, Dalton Schultz gets snapped up or Dalton Schultz is not available in your league, Dawson Knox may not be a bad 1-week streamer. In 3 weeks, Houston's given up 2 touchdowns to tight ends. Of course, one of them was rushing last week to Tommy Tremble. They gave up over 100 yards receiving to tight ends against Cleveland as well.
Yeah, but you got to look at the teams that did that. These were teams that actually used tight ends. Buffalo, in large part, doesn't. He has 10 targets in 3 weeks. Plus, they are going to pound their brains out. I would be more interested in Dawson Knox a week from now when they play Kansas City.
Okay.
And then Tennessee. Actually, you know what? No, you're not wrong, because there are a series of games. I would like him against Kansas City. I'd like him against Tennessee. I would not hate him against Miami. Love him against the Jets. Decent against Jacksonville. Yeah, he's got usable weeks. He would be comfortably 4 for me among pickups at tight end, but I'm good. That's fine.
Okay. And then the last tight end I think we should mention is Tommy Tremble. Tommy Tremble.
That's a deep speculative ad for me.
Well,
I think you have to be in a 16-team league to do that.
No, maybe. Here's the thing. Dan Arnold is gone from Carolina. Tommy Tremble's going to take over that spot. And Matt Rule seems to really, really like him. I mean, he said the other day that Tommy Tremble is this year's Jeremy Chin, which means that's my favorite rookie. That's who we're going to use a lot. So maybe there's a window.
You know, I can't remember who it was. I saw this big fat leprechaun in the draft process talking about Tommy Tremble. Who could that? Oh, it was me.
Yeah.
That's me.
I know you really like him. So
he can just do a lot of things. He's a very modern level tight end. He reminds me a little bit of George Kittle.
You also said he should play fullback more.
He does. And he plays H-back from time to time.
I was going to say, I mean,
he's a utility.
He had the rushing touchdown against Houston.
That's what he did at Notre Dame.
Yeah.
He was that utility H-back kind of player. The beauty of that in the pre-draft process is that there's not an offense that doesn't fit, because you could have put him at, if you don't use a fullback, you can play him at tight end. I said in the pre-draft I could see him being the next version of Kyle Juszczyk. And that's through a few weeks. I feel pretty good about that. And they just shot Dan Arnold out of town, of which, why Urban Meyer thinks he needs 17 tight ends, I don't know, but he does.
He does. He does.
Chris D, we're like an AA meeting for sports. Hi, Chris.
Hi, Chris.
He said, I don't know what to do with Robert Woods. I'm pretty desperate to get rid of him. Don't give up on him yet. Just give it time. That's one of those that you would get 10 cents on the dollar, and it would be somebody like me going, I'll give you, let me use the rankings as my guide. Who would I give you for Robert Woods? We just go receiver for receiver. I would give you
Mike Williams.
No.
You wouldn't do that?
I mean, I probably would. Yeah, let's go with that. Mike Williams.
I mean, he's the number.
And you'd go, yay! And I'd go, yay!
Right now, Mike Williams is wide receiver 2 in fantasy football. His stock is never going to be higher.
Fantasy football's stupid. Mike Williams is 2. That's the grossest shit I've ever heard in my life.
Until he gets hurt.
And he's
sell
gonna.
High.
And he's gonna.
There might be somebody that you could sway into thinking that, Mike Williams, this is the thing. Meanwhile, you
he
pick
said
up
I was
Robert
thinking Woods and McKissick for Hollywood Brown. Don't do that.
Oh,
Hollywood
no.
Brown can't catch.
God, no.
Yeah, I would. I'm trying to think of what the floor I would take for Woods is, because through 3 weeks, Woods is in PPR. He is wide receiver a lot.
A lot.
It is a 47. 47. Yikes. I mean, I think the floor I would take for him would be some combination of Rondale Moore and Zach Moss. I might take those 2 guys for him because I think they're usable pieces going forward. But even then, it's just gross.
Just gross.
Gross. I think that's the best I could get, and I just don't want to do it. I think Robert Woods has a much higher ceiling than that.
Yeah, I'd agree. You're right. You're spot on with that.
Jason Trump asked, would you take AB for Woods? He would. I would not.
I don't know that I would. I mean, I like Antonio Brown fine, but I'm not sure I would. Again, I think
definitively I would.
Again, I think the upside is higher with Robert Woods.
Markedly.
And I mean, I'd take AB and somebody else.
It'd have to be something pretty damn good for me.
Really? Mm-hmm. Okay. I was thinking Zach Moss. AB and Zach Moss, I'd take that deal.
I might. That would be close. Mm-hmm. But that's more I love Zach Moss.
Definitely not a straight up thing.
No.
Wide receivers on the waiver wire this week.
And this is where Jeremy shits on all the players that Tank says.
Yeah, I'm going to continue to pound the drum for Bryan Edwards. Bryan Edwards has a role in this Las Vegas offense. They are going to keep throwing the ball, and since he's not the guy, he's going to find a lot of holes. And he did it again this last week. Granted, he only had 3 catches, but still he went for 89 yards because he's running a lot of deep routes. And he's going to hit a touchdown pretty damn soon.
He has 10 catches.
Mm-hmm.
10. Mm-hmm. Fun game. Who do you like better among receivers for the Las Vegas Raiders? Darren Waller or Bryan Edwards?
Darren Waller.
There you go. Henry Ruggs or Bryan Edwards?
Ruggs.
Hunter Renfrow or Bryan Edwards?
It's Edwards.
I don't know that it is.
Yeah.
And I can tell you through 3 weeks, it's not even close. Hunter Renfrow is wide receiver, in PPR, he's wide receiver 28. Mm-hmm. Bryan Edwards is wide receiver 49. Yeah, I'm going to take Hunter Renfrow. So for Bryan Edwards to be a pickup, you have to sell receivers in that Las Vegas offense are going to be fantasy relevant. Now, they are the first team in NFL history to ever have 4 receivers with 200 yards through 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. So they're spreading the ball around. I just think it's going to be a maddening kind of thing. Who are you dropping for Bryan Edwards? What receiver are you looking at going, fuck him for Bryan Edwards?
Oh, God. I'm thinking like a Van Jefferson or somebody at the back end of your roster. That was like a speculative pick that hasn't worked out yet.
Van Jefferson has 4 less fantasy points than Bryan Edwards.
Okay.
In a equally high potent offense. Okay. I mean, if you want to rearrange deck chairs on the Titanic, more power to you. If I'm picking up a receiver this week, I'm still going to keep saying the name Tim Patrick until he is 100% owned in every league in America.
I don't know that he's going to be.
He should be. Wide receiver 30.
He should be.
Wide receiver 31, 1 spot behind Henry Ruggs.
Well, especially with the season-ending injury to KJ Hamler.
Tim Patrick's the guy. If I was picking up a receiver this week, it's who it would be.
Okay.
He's not available in any of the leagues I'm in.
Okay. AJ Greene. AJ Greene, he's still available. I'm going to keep speaking this. I'm going to keep speaking this into existence. Back-to-back 10-plus point weeks. Had a touchdown 2 weeks ago. Had over 100 yards this past week against Jacksonville. Arizona just, I think it's going to continue. By the way, Christian Kirk, just in case you're wondering, he's still available in almost half the leagues around. So, if he's still out there, check.
I like Christian Kirk as well. Kelvin Joyner said Edwards leads the league in fourth quarter yards receiving. That's actually why I don't like him.
Really?
For the next little bit. So for a guy that comes on in the fourth quarter to be relevant, you have to be in what? Close games. Because if it's not close, you don't throw in the fourth quarter. This is their schedule from now until the second week of November.
Okay.
At the Chargers, that'll be close. Then they go Bears, at the Broncos, Eagles, Giants. That's 4 blowouts. They will blow all 4 of those teams out. So for me, I'm going to let somebody like him pick up Bryan Edwards, and when you get tired of him 3 weeks from now, before they go into Chiefs, Bengals, Cowboys, Chiefs again, Browns, Chargers, then I'll go pick him up.
Right.
But now he's going to hold a spot on my roster that I would rather have a speculative ad, because I know whoever adds him is going to get tired of him. Because he'll go 4 for 30, 2 out of those 4 weeks, and you'll go, oh, fuck him. And there'll be somebody else that you get real amped up about, and then I'll swoop in on the back door and pick up Bryan Edwards before he goes. Nanner times.
Okay.
Think it's happening. I'm just not ready to do it yet.
AJ Greene, Christian Kirk, check and see their availability in your league. Cole Beasley, number 10 in fantasy football, or number 10 in the NFL in targets. so far.
Wide receiver 27.
He almost had 100 yards this past week.
Do you remember what I said he was? Because we talked about Cole Beasley before the season.
Yes, we did.
Do you remember what he was last year? Wide receiver 28. Mm-hmm. Just a hair off of wide receiver, right in that flex consideration.
Yep.
He should be owned. Mm-hmm. The weeks that you want to play him are the weeks he's going to get in the end zone.
Yep.
Are you going to know when those are? No.
No.
But will he consistently be 10-point-a-game guy? Is he ever going to typhoon your roster? No.
Yep. 13 targets in weeks 1 and 3. Turned those into 8 catches for 60 in the first week. This past week, it was 11 catches for 98 yards. It's not great, but if you need some production, you might want to consider Cole Beasley.
He's only had 6 single-digit weeks in PPR in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
That's pretty valuable to have on your bench, as Jason Trump said, as a bye-week dude.
Yep. Jacoby Myers. He's actually not far behind Cole Beasley on the targets list. It's number 14 in targets.
I don't want shit to do with the New England offense.
Right.
And I like Jacoby Myers coming into the year. I don't want shit to do with this offense.
He had 9 catches for 94 yards this past week. Hasn't gotten into the end zone yet, but it's coming.
I don't want shit to do with this New England offense.
Okay.
I think Mac Jones is one of those players that the more tape you get on him, the less scared of him you're going to be.
Mm-hmm. All right. I'm going to keep saying Zach Pascal just because he's up there on the targets list as well.
That one I can get down with.
Granted, he only caught 2 balls this past. He had caught 2 of 8 targets this past week. But there again, he's always going to be a threat for that late touchdown. This is 3 touchdowns in the first 3 weeks of the season.
That one I can get down with. He's wide receiver 32 overall.
Yep. So check his availability as well, because I think he's still only like 40% owned across all leagues. And then there's this is the It's a Trap section. There are 2 guys this week that everybody's probably going to be going after.
Chuba Hubbard.
And you shouldn't do it. No, I'm just talking about wide receivers. We already talked about Chuba. I agree with you. Chuba's a trap. Don't do it, especially if you're reading whoever it was that wrote you need to spend $36 of your $100 of fab on Chuba Hubbard. No, the 2 wide receiver traps this week for me, it's we'll start at the bottom. Number 2 is Desean Jackson. After Desean Jackson had, the big 75-yard touchdown against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, had 3 catches for 120 yards and a score, there are still people holding on to that hope. They're gonna go after him. Problem is, he only played 21 of the 65 snaps, so he's not out there all the time. He ran very limited routes.
Who are you talking about here?
I'm talking about Desean Jackson.
Okay. There's another one that I'm waiting for you to say.
Yeah.
Desean Jackson and Van Jefferson are going to alternate.
Yeah.
Because they're the deep. With Matt Stafford's arm, you want to have that deep threat guy that scares you.
Yes.
And I firmly believe that they're going to alternate, and you're never going to know which one it is. I'm going to avoid Desean Jackson like he's on fire.
I will as well. Like I said, I think that's the number 2 ranked trap guy this week for wide receivers. The number 1 trap guy for week 4 waiver wire, Josh Gordon. Everybody's going to go out and try to get Josh Gordon, or every league is going to have a guy or 2 that are going to fight over Josh Gordon. I'm in a league, and of course, our resident dum-dum sends out a message before the damn week had even started, and he's not even on Yahoo. Said, I'm claiming him. I'm claiming Josh Gordon right now. You can have him.
All right, so I want to tie this into an answer I have for a new person that asked a question in the comments. LeBron's brain. We're like an AA meeting for sports. Hi, LeBron's brain.
Hi, LeBron's.
He asked, who's a wide receiver I can trade T.J. Hawkinson and Juju Smith-Schuster for? I'm not going to tell you they'll do this. I can tell you I'd offer it. Tyreek Hill. He's been dog shit for 2 weeks. And I guarantee you the owners probably 1 and 2 probably sucks at tight end, because if you drafted Tyreek Hill, you probably didn't draft Kelsey. Probably didn't draft Darren Waller. Just speculation.
Yep.
They'll look at Juju and go, Juju's actually been better than Tyreek Hill. especially if they're a dumbass. And you can just go, look what I got! And they'll see Josh Gordon, and that's most likely the same person.
Right.
And they'll go, oh, now Josh Gordon, Tyreek Hill, why'd I take him in the first round? The owner of Hill in my draft's 0-3. Bingo. I'll bet you he takes that. Please offer that and tell me if that owner takes that, because I bet they do. That's one of those trades that a lot of people would be afraid, like, oh, this dude's going to tell me to go get fucked or have sex with myself or whatever.
Yeah.
You'd be shocked. You would be shocked how many times I've sent trade offers and gone, I feel like by metric this is close, and if you run it through one of those trade simulators or whatever, it's close. But I feel like this guy's going to tell me to suck a railroad spike. And then it's immediately, instantaneously accepted. And I go, whoa, wow, you were more, that guy's dead to me than I thought you were. I will bet you, not completely not knowing who owns this, who owns Tyreek Hill in your league or anything like that, I will bet you they'd accept it.
Yeah.
And if it's not Tyreek Hill, could be Stephon Diggs.
Yeah.
Could have the Stephon Diggs owner that kind of pee-pees in their pants and goes, oh, God, look at Emmanuel Sanders. Now it's 1A, 1B. No, it's not.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not.
Ridley. Would Ridley be another one that you think you could get him on?
I don't know that I would want to do that. Matt Ryan is scaring the heebie-jeebies out of me.
The Falcons are that bad.
Because LeBron's brain said, I have Diggs. Okay, so not Diggs. It won't be Diggs. Go after Tyreek Hill. That would be... That's the one that's just screaming at me. Mm-hmm. Because if somebody's desperate at tight end, it is so bad at tight end. And I'll be honest with you, take the earlier advice from today, make that deal, try to push it through today, and then go pick up Dalton Schultz.
Yeah.
And laugh your ass all the way to the fantasy title.
Jason Trump says he wants Hawkinson on his team. What would it take? What would he have to give up to get the TJ Hawkinson owner interested?
I wish I could see vaguely what pieces you had. Tight ends are at a premium. If I had to speculate on what it would take to get TJ Hawkinson, I would say, all right, we'll use a guy that we talked about earlier in the show. I would say you would have to put something with Robert Woods to get him. Robert Woods and Zach Moss. We'll just tie it all together in a big old sweet bow.
Okay.
For me, I would consider it if I had TJ Hawkinson, because I'm looking at Dalton Schultz and Tyler Conklin and just going, that's going to be back into the top 10 guys. Is there a difference? 100%.
Yeah.
I think there's a difference between Hawkinson and the other high-level tight ends. Okay. I lump Hawkinson right in there with Mark Andrews. So I would rather have Kittle, I'd rather have Waller, I'd rather have Kelsey, and to me it's by a lot. Yeah, he posted his roster. None of those. Don't send any of those people. Yeah, that's entirely too much. That's one of those that you'll send the trade offer and it'll be accepted instantaneously and you'll go, shit. Should have sent less.
Oh, Zeke, DJ, Adams.
Yeah,
Calvin
none of those. Unless he's giving you something else. Like Robert Woods. Today's episode of the Sportsocracy brought to you by Robert Woods.
All right, before we get out of here for the waiver wire tips, streaming defenses.
Tennessee Titans this
week going up against the New York Jets. You can bet there's going to be multiple interceptions in that game.
The Jets are at this point like a frat boy with no game. He could wrap that thing in $100 bills and he's still not going to score.
Yep.
So you should play defenses against them until Zach Wilson stops fearing for his life.
Yep. Two other options for you. The New Orleans Saints. I did not know this, but the New Orleans Saints are the #1 fantasy football defense. #1. And guess what? They play the New York Giants this week. And I know that the Giants have been better at keeping track of the ball. Only 2 fumbles lost so far this year. You know what that tells me? Daniel Jones is due. Danny Dimes is due to fumble that football around. So New Orleans Saints, if they're available, get them against the New York Giants this week. And the other one, the Cincinnati Bengals. Now wait, before you jump on me.
I played them on DraftKings and cash this week.
The Cincinnati Bengals get the Jacksonville Jaguars this week. There has not been a multiple interception game, or there has not been a multiple interception game that the Jacksonville Jaguars have had all year long. By the way, Cincinnati, number 9 defense and special teams so far in this season.
Cincinnati's going to be 3-1, and I'm very happy for Evan Doyle. And a couple other Bengals fans that have had some fun with me in the comments. Unfortunately, I think it's going to unwind reasonably quickly. But you're only 1 year away from a new coach and a new Joe Burrow.
We'll be with you this afternoon on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400 locally. Of course, no matter where you are, you can get us live or on demand on the iHeartRadio app. We will be talking about the big decisions that have either tanked or turned around franchises in the NFL, plus all the latest and greatest breaking news from the NFL world as we continue here getting prepared for Week 4. Hit that subscribe button so you get all of our content as it comes out, individual team by team. Week 3 recaps, Week 4 previews will start going out today.
Yep, we'll start with the Souths, so the AFC and NFC South. And I would be remiss if I didn't say this, because I've said it every day for about the last 3 weeks. Today would be a great day for Deshaun Watson to become a Miami Dolphin.
It very well may happen, and if it does, of course, you will hear about it in the Sportsocracy and the Sports Tank with Jeremy Greene. We'll see you on the radio side this afternoon. Take care.